G'day folks, I'm hoping that this can help you out a little bit if you've got one of these older TRX 300 or 350 Honda ATVs. It might have the DC CDI unit, which you suspect is blown. They're a very expensive OEM item. Here in Australia, also very hard to get now, but you're sort of looking probably around $500 or $600. So that's out of the question. Anyway, I wanted to get this old girl of mine going. I pretty much resigned to the fact that after doing all the other tests that I've done on it, I think the CDI unit has gone. So rather than going to the expense of replacing the unit with an original one, I decided to just get an elcheapo eBay DC CDI unit, which is off all sorts of things that's claimed to fit. It was less than $20. So what I did was, on the actual CD unit, so I didn't really want to cut my loom, so too bad. So what I did was the plastic surrounds on these things, on the plugs here, I just got a very fine hacksaw and very carefully just cut it away to expose the pins without damaging the pins, and then I soldered individual wires onto each one of those, just a few inches long, just so that I could splice it into the existing loom using those crimp-on connectors. It's not the best, but I just wanted to see if I could get this old girl going. So this is sort of what I did. So I was, with me mucking around, I was fully able to identify the pulse wire coming from the pulse unit inside the engine casing from the magneto. That was a blue wire. And to test that, what I did was I flicked me little multimeter over to alternating current, found a good earth, and touched my red wire onto the loom side of that plug there, and kicked it over. I mean, the starter system works fine on this thing, so it was spinning over, and I was getting about half a volt, 0.5 of a volt coming into here. So I wasn't sure if that was going to be enough, but anyway, I thought, well, something is working there. And also on the loom, from a previous post that I've had, there's this wire here. It's a yellow and white one. It's an alternator sensor. So it turns out that these bikes need to see engine spinning over before it will allow a spark. So all that does, this is coming from the little generator side inside the engine. It's just sending a pulse. Now that was up around, I think it was a lot more. I think it was about 5 or 6 volts coming up into that trigger wire, coming up into that one. I didn't end up touching that. I didn't touch that wire at all. I just left that one alone. Now getting back to this, the ignition coil, that's a pretty basic one. I was able to find that over to the coil. That's the standard coil that I put on there. With this CDI unit, I actually did get a coil with it, but I thought, rather than bothering changing it out, I'll just leave the stock one in there. I did measure it, and it looked like it was within spec. So these two connections here on these number 3 and number 4, after soldering the wires together, soldering the wires onto the pins, I just joined those two together and spliced it into the common green earth wire into the loom, which was this one here. That goes to the coil, it goes to the frame, and it also goes to the stator earth plate, according to the wiring diagram. So that was okay. The number 5, as I said before, I just left that blank because I wanted to keep it simple. from one of the other guys, the YouTubers, something Wrench, Reckon It Wrench, or not Reckon It Wrench, can't remember his name now, someone Wrench, yeah, he sort of pointed me out that to keep it simple, that's pretty much what we wanted to do here. So I didn't want to have anything just farting around stopping me from actually getting things working here. So what I did was I just left that off. So that's why I've sort of there. Yes, just leave that one blank. So I didn't touch that wire at all. So that's just completely disconnected, just swinging in the breeze. So nothing can interfere with starting it. It was starting gear, I guess. Maybe not reverse, but although, no, I think it'll probably start. I haven't tested that. And so that was number 5. And the last pin was just a 12 volt for ignition switch. I was able to, this is how I originally determined that this is a DC CDI unit, because when I turned the ignition on, I had a nice healthy 12 volts coming from the ignition switch. If I flick the kill switch that's on the left handlebar, yeah, that 12 volts disappears. So that safety function remains. So 12 volts to there. Anyway, that's pretty much my pin out. So really, all I'm using, I'm not using pin number 5. 3 and 4 are joined together for the earth. Got the pulsar wire and the ignition coil wire, and on the engine side, the wire that would normally go to pin number 4. Well, that just goes straight to earth, because this CDI is not really for the bike. It's got different internals, obviously, but to my surprise, it actually worked. I got a spark. It's a thin, bright blue spark. Probably not as good as what I actually would like, but I thought, well, I'm going to give it a go and see. So, I mean, this bike that I've been working on, it hasn't been used for probably 5 years. It's just been sitting there, empty on fuel, flat tyres, covered in spider webs, but it wasn't sitting in the rain or anything, so it wasn't too bad. Engine still turned over, compression, all that sort of stuff. So anyway, after doing this, pulled the spark plug out. I bought a brand new spark plug for it and held it up against the engine and turned it over, and I was so happy when I saw a spark. I thought, you beauty, this thing is actually going to go. So I pulled the carby off, as I was pretty sure that it would need a bit of a fix up, and sure enough, yeah, the carby was gunked up with all sorts of crap. So lots of things I had to use some bits of wire and tiny little drill kit that I've got for fixing up the jets and things. Did all that, freed up the needle and seat on the float, all that sort of stuff. Put it on and put a bit of fuel in it, and it started up straight away. I could not believe it. So this DC CDI unit, just go on eBay and get yourself one of these. Really, you only need 4 little wires and it works. Save you a ton of money. So it cost me less than $20 and half a day's work to get this old bugger going. That keep the grandkids happy for a while. Ours, just as long as they don't kill themselves on it. It actually does feel like it's got more herbs than what it used to. Maybe the timing has been changed on it. Maybe the fact that I've drilled out the jets a little bit as well with my cleaning them out. So a combination of those two things, advanced timing maybe and bigger jets, and the exhaust has got a hole in it, so breathing a bit better as far as that goes. I'm quite happy. Anyway, I hope you find this useful. I'm sorry I haven't got much to show you other than just that, which you've just been staring at. And this was another one from a previous post. So this is pretty nearly a 10-minute video now, and I think it's time I had a beer. And it's not a furphy. This is true fact. Cheers, people.